Hello and welcome. Happy New Year. We are here today in our digital studio with the one and only Renato Pagnani, who we welcome with open arms,
Always,
etc.,
always.
etc. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
we have done this in the past, and we're happy to be doing it again. So, welcome.
It's
I'm
good to be
Connor
back.
Nunez.
Yeah, dude. It's been a year since we did the last year in review, and for those who may not have heard this before, Renato was crucial to the inception of this show. He is a much more adult person and has a many real responsibilities that Connor and I do not. And so we like to consider him the godfather of Apocalypse Duds. He just kind of shows up. So yeah, dude, thanks
One,
for coming
he
on again.
has financed the entire operation, of
Right.
course.
He was our first and our biggest
The deep
fan.
pockets. Yeah, huge
Yeah,
supporter.
yes. But yeah, dude, how's life? How's everything going?
Life is good. Once again, I'm glad to be here, and I like that we've made this an annual tradition, so to speak. It's
Oh yeah.
something that I look forward to every year, and getting to catch up with both of you. And now that also I'm sort of removed a little bit from the operation, it's wonderful to see all of the episodes that you've dropped, the really good work that you two have done, and the growth that I've witnessed of the podcast. So I'd like to start by congratulating you two on a great 2023, and 2024 is going to be even better. I know it.
Thank you. Yeah, this is
Too
correct me if I'm
kind.
wrong, Connor. This is episode 42. Since
Yeah.
since what, early fall of 2022. So yeah, it's wild to think of.
Like that's almost like an episode a week pace.
We try.
Yeah. Well, what I said in the document is it's almost the number of US presidents. And
Yeah,
that's and
we're not
that
too
is
far off.
and that is
Yeah.
And not a
yeah, so
war
like
criminal amongst the episodes, not one. So
right, right. We have not yet had a war criminal.
yeah.
But not that
Maybe
we
in
would platform
2024.
a war criminal, obviously, but like, it just depends. Like, I would love to interview Dick Cheney. I would just love to interview Dick Cheney. I don't know, like, what I would ask him if he is still alive, even,
Yeah. What was it
but it
like
would be
shooting
amazing.
George or wait, I can't remember.
Yeah,
Did he shoot George W. or did George W. shoot him? I can't remember.
yeah, it's a good. I'm pretty sure he was the shooter,
Yeah.
and he
Yeah.
shot. And I don't think it was a Bush that he shot in the face. I think it was like an attendant. It was
Oh,
like
okay, maybe
someone.
it was. I thought that they were
It
hunting
was like
together
someone
for
who
some reason.
extremely didn't deserve it.
Harry
I think.
Whittington, a 70-year,
Yeah.
then 78-year-old Texas attorney. Wow. Yeah. All right.
What's awesome though is the first search suggestion when you look up Dick Cheney's name
Is
is
shooting.
Dick Cheney shooting.
Yeah, that's
So was
And
this an
that's a
that's
nice
accident?
legacy to have for
As a
Dick.
as a Canadian, I'm unfamiliar with. Is this an accident that happened at some
yeah.
point?
Oh God, yeah. It's worth a look up. I don't really. I'm sorry that I took us
You know
down
Dick
this fucking
Cheney?
tangent. Yeah, Dick
You know Dick
Cheney.
Cheney?
I know Dick Cheney for sure.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
of course.
So
He was
yeah,
in a hunting expedition and he shot this guy in the face with a shotgun.
Did this man survive?
yeah. It
Okay.
wasn't like
'Cause
super
it was bird
serious.
shot.
Yeah, right.
It was bird shot, and so it was like pellets like in the guy's face.
Damn.
But of course, had it been a real gun, he would have just been dead. Or had it been a real bullet,
Sure.
So it's not like I'm saying, my God, like we need to try him for the shooting as well, because of course, many crimes. But the shooting is something that we should never forget.
Right.
There's
Never
another
forget.
incident from that time that we are supposed to never forget, but this is something.
All right,
should never forget.
we have to get off this fucking tangent. Anyway, Renato. God damn it. Yeah, this is why we do a year interview with the three of us, because it's just us shooting the shit for an hour.
So we can talk about 2001 forever.
Right.
The only year that matters.
The
Seems
year
like-
and the film.
Yeah, seems
Right.
like you have had a pretty good year with your writing and things. I just saw what was it, yesterday you posted the profile that you had in the Edmonton paper?
Yeah. So this what you're referring to was a profile I wrote in sort of our magazine, the big magazine in town, which is called Edify.
Oh, cool.
Um, and it comes out once a month, usually in the winter. I think every 2 months. So like, there's this one was the January February issue, and it was basically a profile of a woman who works at a local news station. And over the last 30 years, she has ran this series called Women of Vision, in which she profiles extraordinary women around town, which is a really cool thing. And so basically, it was just sort of, it wasn't a terribly long profile. I had about 500 words, but I got to tell the story about this woman, Leslie McDonald, and just kind of her journey, the genesis of the Women of Vision series, and what kind of she's up to now. So but yeah, it was. I was fortunate to get some really cool pieces accepted and published this year. What I was happy about is I've really kind of been able to write more about fashion, as we continue. And Complex was a publication that I had been meaning to check off the list of publications that I wanted to write for a long time, and I was able to write something for them this year, which was a profile of a up and coming menswear brand called Manresa, which is
Cool.
based in Connecticut. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure. I forget now the details exactly. And they kind of are a heritage inspired brand that like is sort of the triangulation, I would say, of like Ralph Lauren, Nike's ACG line, and something like Patagonia maybe. So there's
Oh, that sounds great.
yeah. So they're like obviously like your traditional sort of preppy influences. There's a workwear influence. There's a hiking and outdoors influence, and that's also one of the brands that we'll get into later that I probably spent my money of the limited clothes I did buy this year, mostly with them and other small brands. So yeah, I think they're a really exciting brand that kind of puts a unique spin on some classics, and I was really happy to write that piece. So, I talked to their founder, Mike McLaughlin, a really good guy, and kind of got to learn about the brand, its start, and how tough it is to start a brand from scratch in 2023. Like the brand's been operating for a few years now, and it's just finally started to take off. Right, he
Right.
hired a second employee this year, and that's what I think happens for a lot of these brands, right? Like it's really slow to get that ball rolling, but eventually you get some momentum and that ball starts to roll faster. And it's great to see that there are a lot of small sort of independent brands that are still succeeding in the space. And to me, like that's where I see the most excitement in menswear, and probably where I spend, or where I'm a customer of. And being able to kind of cover those kind of up and coming brands
Totally.
is sort of what I'm looking to do going forward.
Yeah, the retail landscape as a whole in 2023, or I will say the physical or I guess online too, because like, even if you just have an online store and you're stocking bullshit, how do you get that in front of people? It's the hard part. I had a friend in Atlanta, an old friend and drummer in one of my old bands, Champ Hammett, that started a like a high end, kind of menswear workwear in oriented store in Atlanta called Guilty Party. They carry the name Ironheart 316, a bunch of heavy hitters. And, he's like just watching him. I think he opened in September, and just watching the growth. It's mostly in person, which is awesome. And he was like, the online thing, like we'll keep just trying to get in front of more eyes. But like it's, walking that balance is hard.
Absolutely, right. And especially when you don't have that physical footprint.
Right.
For example, Mike has at Manresa has done a lot of pop-ups over the year in New York particularly, and I think that has helped because I think at the end of the day, being able to get these garments in your hand and feel them and touch them and understand sizing and see how they look on your body, that's always going to be something that customers will, I think, appreciate, right? Like I do most of my shopping online, but it's always a crapshoot. Like you never know if something's going to fit properly
Right.
until you get it.
Totally. Even like the most perfect measurements. I think I've actually said this before. Like in a recent episode. Like, oh yeah, I want these, these 4 measurements are perfect, and you get it in, and it's like, yep, they measure right, but it doesn't fit right.
For sure. And then I also think, like, even with like the pop-ups, for example, it's not just about getting the clothes on you and feeling them in person, but it's about, I think, building those relationships with the people, building a community, which, and I think for that sort of aspect, they're even more valuable, right? Because like for a lot of these, I think, small brands, there still are, personality led, and there's a face to the brand, even if the face is not up in front and center in their promotional materials or whatever. So getting to know that story and that narrative and becoming a part of that lifestyle, I think, is something that a lot of these small brands are aspiring to do.
Totally. How are the Oilers doing this season?
You know what, the Oilers, the old Oilers, at the beginning of the year, it's been an up and down season so far. At the beginning of the year, they started the season like 2-9, I think, or 2-11 it was. Very poorly. They ended up firing their coach and hiring a new coach, and since then I think they've gone 16-4. So like they've pretty much turned their season. Yeah, and at one point the playoffs were looking very far away and unlikely, but right now they're back in the mix. I think they're only just a few points out of the last playoff spot, and there's still a lot of season to go. The NHL regular season goes on until the end of March, early April. So there's over half the season to go still, but they kind of are now playing as everyone expected them to play. They went into the season as a Stanley Cup favorite, and maybe it was part of those expectations that maybe made them nervous and maybe got to them a little bit. Maybe it was in their heads, but they started to play a lot better and are kind of resembling that team that we hoped they would be. So yeah, it's been up and down. And I was very lucky. I got to see them last week in LA and Anaheim. I went down with my wife and her family for a little trip, and we got to see them play at the Crypto.com Arena in LA, which is a really cool barn, and the Honda Center in Anaheim, which is an older arena, but it has its own unique charm. It sort of reminds me of a mall in the 90s. It's all tile and like yellow light.
Oh, that's funny as hell.
Very, very funny. And yeah, they won both games, and it's always cool for me to watch one of the teams I cheer for away from home, because then there's always this kind of camaraderie with other people who are also wearing those jerseys of those teams.
Right.
You don't get when you're here, because obviously everybody, or a majority of the fans are cheering for the same team. So their season's looking up. I hope they continue to play well. Their schedule is it's one of the easiest schedules on paper over the next month or so they can really make up a lot of ground here. But they have a terrible tendency to sort of play down to their competition sometimes. So I hope they can avoid that.
As someone who is from Atlanta, every single sports team, sorry, Connor, we will end up the sports chat in a second. Every single team here is like the biggest choke artist on the planet. Like the Braves, the Hawks, the Falcons, they can have the best season on earth, and then they fuck up like 3 times in a row. Yeah. Okay, Connor, we can get off sports.
No. Listen. I talk about shit all the time that no one gives a fuck about.
I know. Okay? I also
talk about sports. Yeah, it is what it is.
I had to hear about Anaheim because I, like every fucking older millennial that loved the Mighty Ducks as a kid, like the Ducks were my fucking team at a point. And so,
well, didn't you say Crypto.com?
That's the LA arena's name. Yeah.
So it's sponsored by a cryptocurrency outfit.
A website, technically, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Interesting. We really do live in a new world, and boy, is it scary.
It's a cool arena,
I see
though.
You got the hat on.
Always.
I didn't notice. Nice. I didn't know what it said. I was like, was that a P? It's an O. It's a long. Yeah, it's a long right. See, my eyes are getting shittier. So the student I was working with, his name is Royalty. He's just the shit. And he's 5, right? Anyway, he's fucking walking around squinting all the time. And I'm like, dude, I know you have glasses. Where are the glasses? I say to the 5-year-old. And he's like, they're at home. So I'm like, just take my glasses. You will be able to see better with them, presumably. And he's looking at the screen. He's like, yeah, I can read. So we were doing it today. We were doing it, and I don't know. I began that tangent for some reason. My glasses, my eyes, I don't remember.
Royalty.
Oh, I was saying I couldn't read your hat.
Yes. Well, it is white on white, to be fair. But yes, it is. It is an
It
Oilers
looks
hat.
cool, though. I mean, I'm for it. I'm supportive of it.
Totally.
When my friends are made happy by a sports event, I'm like cheering on the inside. You can't see it, but I'm cheering very loudly.
Yeah. I like to think that I have a healthy attitude to sports. Like if a team that I cheer for loses, it really doesn't affect my mood beyond the game. It's like, and because they're back in the day, it used to ruin my mood for days, if not weeks, and perhaps it's maturity or I'm just losing interest to a degree. But I feel like that's a much healthier relationship with sports. It's like I like it as an excuse to get together with my friends and have some beers and talk about shit that's really pointless in the grand scheme of things, but is a nice distraction from the hell that is our existence in 2023.
That's the title of the episode. That is the title. The hell of that is our existence 2023 interview.
I think that my sports frame of reference is just like my grandfather and my uncle who liked the Washington football team like above all. And so not only is it a bad organization like in that little thing, it's the whole thing is bad, and then it's a racist name, and then they always and only lose. So I don't have very much. It's like I don't even know what it's like to win because I feel like you can't root for a team that you aren't from. It's like
you can,
right?
You can. The Bruins were my team after the Ducks.
But then aren't you like every fucking person who thinks the Patriots are good?
No, because like growing up in the 90s, like the Braves and the Cubs were the only two nationally televised baseball teams. So the Braves for a long time were called American. Because of TBS and WGN, I think is Chicago. But like there are tons of Braves fans that live in like bumfuck Idaho because they had cable and that was the only baseball game they could watch. So like I'm not mad at that. Like I'm not a sports person. But even
that is like a caricature of a native person, right? Like,
oh yeah, I will go on record in saying that I think they should rename to the Atlanta Hammers for Hank Aaron. They wouldn't even have to change very much, and they could get rid of the fucking tomahawk chop. Like, play an MC Hammer song and have people, like, pounding a nail or something. It's the same fucking movement. But, I'm just being historical.
That's a hysterical historical podcast.
Historical, yeah. But, yeah, like, I don't think it's weird to, like, root for someone that you're not, geographically close to.
A lot of teams, or I would say people don't have a team in their city, right? So they're rural people. And
then you have to go with the closest geographically to
I mean, to be fair, like when I was growing up and I loved hockey, like there was no team geographically close to me. Like this was before we had the Thrashers, after we had the Flames, and and like
both of those sound like made up.
What? No, the Thrashers.
The Thrashers
I don't remember.
And the Flames.
The Flames moved to Calgary, and then the Thrashers. I don't remember where they ended up, but like Atlanta could support a hockey team now. Like those games were fun as shit to go to, but there were only like 8,000 people there. But like this was also the early 2000s.
What if we start a sports team and move to a country that has socialized healthcare?
Could be great.
I don't know why we've never thought of this before.
Yeah. The Apocalypse Duds.
But that's what you said they did, right? They moved to Calgary.
Yeah, well,
so they got the health insurance.
Yeah, but that's the weird part that happens with professional sports, and the shitty part. Like a team will be lured away,
move irrespective of international.
Like cities dump cities dump a ton of fucking money to get a team to move there, and it's like, oh, cool, this benefits us, and like we get a brand new stadium or whatever at taxpayer expense. Anyway, not a tangent I care to go on, but Renato, what has been
Yeah.
what has been both your favorite uh, clothing purchase of the year and your most worn clothing item?
So this really sort of runs the gamut. I would say these two items. There's a very big juxtaposition. I would say my favorite purchase from this year. Did you say purchase or most worn or both?
Both. Favorite
Yeah,
purchase
yes.
and then most worn.
I would say my favorite purchase is probably, and it's from the brand I had mentioned earlier, Manresa, but it was a chore coat, workwear jacket, inspired from a vintage chore coat that Mike from the brand had found somewhere at some vintage store, and then he made his own riff on it.
Cool.
The Bittner, as it's called, in a really nice sort of slate blue canvas material with a contrast corduroy collar and this kind of nice gray. It's wonderful. It's got a nice length to it. So it's long. Yeah, it's really cool. It's got a nice length to it. So it's not quite cropped, but like it's on the verge of being cropped. It's nice and boxy. And that's probably the one item I've worn more than anything. Besides, it is probably maybe the simplest item in a person's wardrobe. But for me, I would say my most worn garment of 2023 was a tank top. Just a white ribbed tank top, or as some call it, the wife pleaser.
Right.
And I didn't wear it too often in a stereotypical mobster way where I was wearing nothing over top of it, but as a layering piece, and with a nice camp collar shirt over top, unbuttoned, or even a Oxford cotton button down long sleeve shirt unbuttoned. It allows you to layer in the summer, which is hard to do at the best of times. Giving a little bit more dimension to your outfits, and also a little bit of sexiness, right? And get the taco beef out. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling sexy, and so honestly, I probably wore a tank top like most days with a different shirt over top of it. Honestly, sometimes even a jacket over top of it,
right?
For a cool look. I even wore, actually, to my brother's rehearsal dinner. He got married this past year in July. I wore a tank top underneath a very relaxed suit made out of, it was what was the material? The crinkly stuff. It's escaping me now.
Linen?
Not linen, but the other one. It's usually striped.
Seersucker.
Seersucker, yes.
Yeah,
seersucker.
okay.
Blue and white striped seersucker, casual suit from Uniqlo. Honestly, it was a great value too, with just a tank top underneath and some white Birkenstock Arizona sandals, and it was a great summer outfit.
I associate the tank top with you.
Yeah. We're gonna need a photo of that for the post also.
Sounds good.
I feel like the camp collar tank top under open is like, that's like a Renato staple. I feel like I have worn a tank top because I have seen you wear a tank top and been like, we're not like exactly the same person, obviously, but there's like a Venn diagram of our style. Yeah, the tank top is cool.
Yeah, I think it's great to see its resurgence over the past few years. Has been awesome. I mean, it's also functional. A lot of people wear it just underneath as an additional layer for warmth.
Well, but here's the question: it's not an underarm cover.
You're right.
For the sweat protection, or whatever, the sweat abatement. I don't know. I've never like the tank top as sweat something has escaped me for a long time.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that's its primary purpose. I think it's probably as like just a layer of warmth rather than like preventing sweat. Because I agree with you. Like if that's your concern, and some people are, I can be a sweaty guy. It's not helping on that aspect. Like I'd much rather wear just like a white, crew neck t-shirt or a t-shirt of some sort. But the problem with that is, sometimes you don't want that height of collar, right? So that's where the tank top comes in, because it's a nice scoop. You can see your chest a bit. It's not necessarily peeking out, and in some outfits you don't want it to peek.
Yeah, it's a nice white line.
And it also reminds me of my dad. Like my dad is a staunch tank top wearer. He's Italian. He was born there. He came here when he was 15, and he's never without one. Like I think he's worn one every day of his life. Like he must have 50 of
Came
them.
out of the womb.
Yeah,
He came out of womb one for sure.
That's how my
And
my paternal grandpa was.
I don't know. It's nice that they're leaving the association with that garment behind, which is like negative and is like bad and is like maybe a little accurate, but also like
Yeah.
we
I
don't
like
have
the
to put
euphemism
class
that you
on clothing.
used. That was the wife pleaser is a plus euphemism.
of course,
Woman
I cannot take
respecter,
credit for
yeah,
that.
all that shit.
I'm sure Benny
Yeah,
loves seeing you in just that and like a pair of pants too. It's very like your Brando moment with her.
Absolutely no, and especially with a pair of looser pants, right? Which are I'm really happy that we've sort of firmly moved back
Oh,
towards looser fits. I can I a skinny jeans, skinny pants never worked on me. I could never find them that would fit because I have quite large legs, especially like my upper legs. I have a little bit of junk in the trunk, as they would say. So
you
I
have
would
a
always have to.
Your
I got a
young
little bit of a
soccer
body.
player build.
Yeah, a little bit of a dump truck. And even during the hashtag menswear era, when slim was being heralded as the ultimate fit, the correct fit, what we should aspire to, finding slim pants that accommodated my butt and legs were difficult, and I'd always have to size up to such a degree to fit my thighs that then the waist would be too big because my waist is not that big, and then it also wouldn't be slim anymore at that point. So I'd have to get them at that point tapered, and it was just way too much of a headache. Also, I don't think tight pants are comfortable, and
No.
not only that, they're not comfortable. The majority of people, it's not the most flattering look. Listen, like honestly, there's a very small segment of the population that like it looks good on. I'm not in that population, and also just being able to throw on a pair of pants that like are flowy and loose, and I don't have to feel uncomfortable in, like, that's a win for me. I'm never going back. And to bring this back, with a nice leather belt, pair of loafers and a tank top, like that's a simple outfit, but I think it rocks.
It's killer. Classic in the good way.
Absolutely.
Do you have a
Connor,
tank top recommendation?
Yeah.
You
Hit
Sorry,
us.
just buy 5 packs of something. I don't know.
I
don't mean to put you on the spot either.
No, I know the answer. I probably have about 7 to 8. Like I usually, for things like that, for staples like that, or like just a basic white tee, or I would say underwear is different. I probably have, I'm a trunksman, so I like the boxer briefs that have been cut shorter, so there's less material to bunch up. For me, it's very much a sort of practical reason. But I have probably 20 pairs of those. But I have about 7 to 8 pairs, so I can of tank tops, so I can at least have one a week, and then at the end of the week, I can wash them all. And most weeks I'm not necessarily wearing them every day, so I'll have one or two always extra. But I'm partial these days, and honestly, this goes for most of my basics. So things like basic white tees, underwear, but it's Uniqlo, and it's an affordable tank top. I think it's like $15 Canadian. I could be wrong. $14.90 rings a bell for some reason. But it's a nice shape and cut. It's affordable. It's ribbed. Easy to find. They don't always carry it at the Uniqlo store. Well, we have 2 in town, so I usually have to end up ordering them online. But like I know my size, so every few months I'm ordering a few more, and so that's kind of my go-to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a huge proponent of Uniqlo underwear and socks.
Yep.
Great.
Yeah, I have
great
some
stuff.
socks for probably 10 years that I
Yeah.
have basis that are just cotton, and they are like fine.
Right.
So I don't know if they make their stuff like that, but I just because I don't have experience with, we're pro Uniqlo.
We are
Sponsor us.
Connor, same question to you. What's been your favorites and your most worn item?
Well, Matt, I have to say, in the document, I even wrote down whatever those jeans that you gave me, the Levi's that you gave me, like, people love those fucking things.
Nice. Yeah.
And
they were solid.
So what are the jeans, Connor? Give us some details.
They're
They're
505s.
yeah, they're like probably late '80s, very early '90s, like Levi's Made in USA 505s, which is my personal favorite cut. And yeah, I just
How do the, how do the 505s differ in fit from the 501s
so
for reference?
they are the 505. It's similar in certain ways. The 501 is button fly. 505 is zip fly. That was their first. Well, after the after the 554Z, which was essentially a zip fly 501 in 54 is, or I guess
Yeah.
53 or so is when it officially came out. The 505 was their answer to that. So they basically it's a mid rise like the 501 zip fly, which is personal preference, but in my opinion, I think that it's got a little bit more room in the thigh and it's got a little bit more taper. So it's
Okay.
like it's just the best fucking straight fit jean I can think of, honestly.
They're a
And they
little
like
less like 501s are
yeah, 501s are like
crazy.
stovepipes. These have like enough of a taper, but then they keep room up top where they like fit a variety of body style.
Biles. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
They are good though, and I have had them repaired like by different people, so they look cool. Even my like aunt, who was like, she doesn't give a fuck. She was like, "Oh man, those are cool jeans." So like, I would say those. I have been really happy with the LBM 1911 jackets that
nice.
I got.
Yeah, I think those were
Also with Matt's
my recommendation.
advisement.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I was giving you credit though. I was in the midst of giving you credit.
yeah, yeah,
I think those are amazing. Like I've never had a nice cotton jacket before, but it really is like it is like a night and day difference in terms of we're talking about comfort again. Like
yeah,
Jesus, the fucking like unstructured Italian jacket compared to basically anything else. There's
yeah.
nothing that compares.
And
Um
I don't wear tailored clothing very much at all anymore. I still appreciate it, but like I wear my tailored shit the same way that I'll wear like a chore coat. And so unstructured, like super comfortable stuff, I beat the fuck out of it and it like somehow still holds up. But like, if you're kind of when I was working in menswear, I was constantly moving around and like that shit shifts with you and just I don't know, there's just something about it. Like it's not, you're not going to wear that to court if you're a fucking lawyer, but it's just, yeah, it's like a natural feeling jacket to put on.
if you want to be taken seriously, like
Yeah.
that, I
Yeah,
guess.
probably not. Yeah, you
Um,
want a gray charcoal suit with a little bit of structure, but yeah. Well,
they're
shit.
sick. Other also bucket hats. I've
Mm-hmm.
accumulated a lot of bucket hats this year that I'm pleased with. From Matt, some from Matt, some from Miss
I
Taylor. Shout
didn't
out Miss
expect a
Taylor,
shout out.
the admin at my school. Well, it's like funny because like a lot of my good shit has come from you this year. But that's like not a coincidence. You have good taste and you're pretty well connected. So it's like it stands to reason, really.
Right,
I
right.
mean, I think I got that purple Canali cashmere jacket, which I love because
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like I got it at the thrift store for like $12. It has patch pockets. It's so nice. It kind of looks like a navy blazer, but it's purple cashmere, which is really
Yeah.
so anyway, I got a lot of clothes that I like.
I feel
I
like
have yet again gotten a lot of clothing that I liked this year.
yeah, and I think that like honestly, Connor, you've kind of like come into your own shit again, and or like
Yeah.
you've evolved. Connor famously sends me things that make me want to puke, and I'm like his arbiter. If I hate it or his girlfriend Erin hates it, Connor's like, yeah, this is my shit. But I think you've
Okay, well,
moved.
give me an
Yeah.
example,
Oh
Matt.
God,
What
any of
Connor has sent you
those,
that
any of the terrible
induced your
pattern, like,
Bright yellow
uh,
wallaby,
yeah.
which are sick. Actually, they are sick. Like they have the twisty, curly laces on them. Very. I feel like that's like the original Wu Tang wallaby.
right?
You know.
Yeah, it looked
Yeah.
cool on Wu
Anyways,
Tang. It doesn't mean you should buy them.
yeah, listen, I will admit that I am not always the person who should be wearing these things, not in an appropriative way, but like I just like how stuff looks, and I haven't bought the yellow wallabies, have I?
Right. Yeah, I know.
To your knowledge.
Renato, to my knowledge, he'll send me like do you remember Gant Salty Dog shirts? Like the crazy pattern, like Gant button downs?
Yep.
Like Connor
Yeah.
somehow finds the most hideous prints on earth and is like, yeah, this is cool. It's yellow and maroon and a bunch of other fucking colors, and he'll send it to me and I'm just like,
Tell me this is not. Tell me this is not.
yeah,
This one is
yeah.
sick. I've successfully worn this one many times.
Yeah, I mean,
with the
I'm
cotton
not saying
jackets.
that like some of this doesn't look cool on you. I'm just saying that like if I hate
know.
it or
I'm a
Aaron hates it,
maximalist.
yeah.
Then I'm going with it. Then I'm going for it.
But he also has started to listen to me when I'm like, hey, don't wear that tie with that jacket, please. Yeah. He's laughing.
Well, I think one of my sort of sartorial 2024, resolutions have been to start doing a lot more sort of procuring of my clothes via vintage. So I think I'm going to have to lean into your expertise, Matt.
Oh, dude, you're always welcome. Hit me up. I dress very boringly.
We're gonna get to that, motherfucker.
Yeah, I know. I have like forever that I remember. Like I am one of those people that finds like kind of a uniform, and I just like wear that for extended periods of time in like various ways. And yeah, like I am very
It's
much
like the
that.
most fascist part of you, Matt. It really is.
It's just like
uniform.
It's like, oh, I find this insanely comfortable and it fits what I need it to fit right now. I'm just going to wear something like this every single. Like I am one of those people. I don't buy a whole lot for myself. And my general rule is the only things I want to own clothing wise are things that like are fighting to get me to wear them every single day. And so that's where the uniform's in. I don't know. I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just like it's how I am. It's how I've always been.
I don't think it's a bad thing. I'm just making fun of you.
Yeah, I know. I also beat the shit out of everything that I own. Like, I have a jacket that my buddy Matt thrifted. It's a 50s JCPenney Big Mac chore jacket, all right? He thrifted it shortly after I met him in 2017. It was like one wash, maybe two wash. Within 2 years, that thing, I had people telling me, looks like someone wore this for 100 years. Because I would just, like, wear it almost every single day. But yeah, that's just how I am. But yeah, like dude, I love helping people and like people sending me shit that they like. And Connor, I'm a little bit more brash, but like I feel like I'm a pretty good.
Matt would be nice to you, yeah.
I'm not trying to be like an arbiter of taste, but like if you need help and be like, I know how a lot of things fit. I have a lot of experience handling shit, and so yeah, like I'm not expecting.
And sometimes having that outside perspective is helpful though, right? Like, to somebody to bounce an idea off of or be like, hey, what do you think of this? I mean,
yeah, for sure.
Sometimes, like, I think as I get older, I am doing a better job of buying things that like I won't eventually regret in 6 months, or like I won't be like, why did I buy that? But you still, I think no matter what, are gonna find some duds in terms of like your personal style and what you think you might wear is something that you don't. So having somebody who can maybe help reduce the number of L's you take, I think is a good thing.
yeah. I mean, I take
for sure.
I never try anything on in a thrift store. Like it's just something I don't do. And so like I bought so many things that I personally like looked at and I was like, yeah, that's cool. And that'll probably fit. And then I put it on. I'm like, I feel like a fucking clown. So I understand how that goes. You don't want to take L's when you're buying like a non-thrift store thing off eBay.
Do you, Matt, when you're doing your vintage shopping, do you use those like, you see on TikTok and all those things, use your like arm length to like know if a pair of pants will fit you or something? Are any of those actually
put the waist around the neck?
I always carry a measuring tape with me. That's like part of my everyday carry. I don't do that. I have found that it can work. The neck thing in particular. My friend Will, who is a bigger dude, like he's 6'4", I think he's like a 37 or so waist. He uses that a lot and it works. If you're mostly normally proportioned, like, I don't want to say normal's a bad word, but like most.
You can't be fat. It
I'll
doesn't
use
work for
no.
me.
I will use this example. Okay, so most normal suiting is drop 6, drop 7. So if you're a 42 chest, you're probably a 35 or 36. That's pretty standard. You're probably like a 16 and a half inch shirt. Like pretty standard things. If you're kind of in the regular range, like you can buy stuff off the rack and your proportions all kind of match up, it can work. Not everyone is like that, but a good majority of people are kind of like that. Like, it just, if you're a fucking bodybuilder and you've got a 17 and a half inch neck and a 32 waist, nah, that probably ain't gonna work. But, if you kind of think about it, like in terms of just regular builds, because obviously like off the rack shit has a purpose. Most people can buy something off the rack at a store and, with a little bit of tailoring, those kind of tricks can work. I don't trust them totally, but, depends. That was a long-winded answer for that question. They can work, yes.
Okay, good to know. Because Bailey, my
Well, of
wife.
course, they can work, right? Like, if one
Yeah, I mean,
person's waist is the same size as their neck, then it can work.
Well, it's not even that.
just-
It's like it's not that your waist and your neck are the same, but a lot of time that proportion matches up in a way, and so it does work out. Like I haven't done the science or the research on this, but I have seen it work countless times. I have just personally never used the thing. Yeah.
You want to talk about music?
Always.
Yeah.
I think. Well, I guess Renato, you should go first. If you feel satisfied, Matt, with talking about clothing, I mean, we continue to talk about clothing.
Oh, I'm good. I'm good.
But we've each had a turn, and so now we can go to the mic.
Yeah.
Sure, let's do it. And sure, I can take lead. I collected my 3 favorite albums of 2023. I thought, overall there was a lot of good music this year. I got to see some cool shows. Bailey and my wife, went to Vancouver in, I think it was April, with 2 friends of ours, a couple, and we went there to see the Boy Genius show. So obviously Boy Genius being the super group of Lucy Dacus, Julian Baker, and Phoebe Bridgers. They were playing at an outdoor amphitheater there, and it was a really lovely show. Also, maybe the chillest, most friendly audience of any show I've ever attended. It was all like 17-year-old lesbians and like gay dudes. It was awesome. Like it was like a very queer audience, and I think that is not unrelated to why it felt so welcoming and inclusive. And they're just vibing with the music. But yeah, those girls are so talented. And that was one of my favorite records of the year, their full-length debut. I think it's a great record, something I've returned to often. And the other 2 records I really love this year, well, before I get to those, an honorable mention, and it's because it's kind of sort of pertinent to the time, but it was just the holiday season, and I am a Christmas music man, and
oh yeah,
oh no,
and there was a new Christmas EP that Sabrina Carpenter, who makes pop music, she's a former Disney star. She was the one who was sort of involved in that love triangle that Olivia Rodrigo was singing about on her music.
Wow,
but she also makes really good
deep.
pop music on her own. And she released a Christmas EP called Fruitcake, which is fantastic. I love it. And I listened to it probably 100 times in December. Honestly, maybe 200 times because it's so short. I just had it on loop forever. It's a good thing that Spotify stops counting your music, I think, at the end of October or something. That would have probably definitely been number 1 for me. But Fruitcake, a great collection of mostly original Christmas songs. She does one cover of White Christmas at the end, but the others are originals, and they're really fun. But the other 2 full-length, LPs that I really enjoyed this year were World of Hassle by Alan Palomo, who is also known as Neon Indian. And it's actually kind of funny. I went to listen to that album again the other day, and it's marketed as an Alan Palomo solo album, right? Not a Neon Indian project, but he recently added Alan Palomo / Neon Indian to like the Spotify record, at least, because I think he probably he was realizing Neon Indian is a much more known quantity than his own name is. So he was missing out on a lot of, people searching for Neon Indian and whatnot on the streaming services. So I think it was a smart move of him to do that. But it's a collection of, if you are familiar with Neon Indian's music at all, sort of a continuation of that sort of synth pop, sort of chill wavy. He's moved away from chill wave, which is he was one of sort of the biggest names of it back in the day when that subgenre was cresting. But this is sort of a more poppy sort of collection of songs where his voice is actually very high up in the mix, and they're proper pop songs, very 80s inspired, Muzak inspired. Like, honestly, might be a pretentious reference, but like it's very sort of like Pynchon-esque. Like, he has all these characters with like weird names in it. Like, he writes a song about getting lost in a mall as a young Latino kid, called The Wailing Mall, and it's sort of like tongue in cheek, and it's a very, very funny record. Bailey thinks it sounds like Muzak and can't stand it. So your mileage may vary, but I really think it was an underrated record last year that didn't get the props it deserves. It's awesome. But my favorite record of the year was called Madres, or Mother in Spanish, I'm pretty sure, or maybe not Spanish, or some Spanish adjacent language, by Sofia Cortizas, who is a Peruvian electronic producer. She is great, and that was by far my favorite record of the year. Just a lot of really cool dance, house-inspired music that really uses a lot of South American influences and really works those sounds into it in an organic way. And that was those are probably my 3 most played records of the year.
Solid.
We'll
All
make
things
a
that I don't know.
playlist. Yeah, I was just gonna say we can make a playlist of the stuff and put it
Yeah,
out, and
definitely.
then everyone will know. Everyone will be able to hear it.
Yeah.
Which
We
you
can do a
had good
collective
recommendations
playlist.
last time. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, definitely.
Our favorite tunes of the year.
Absolutely.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Well, do you want to go, Matt, or do you want me to go?
I can go.
All
Yeah,
right.
I feel like this year, I kind of rediscovered how much I enjoy going to like shows again, which has been really refreshing. Not like I'm going to a show all the time, but I've been to more this year, or well, 2023, than I probably had been in like 5 years. Yeah, it was just a really, really good time. There's a ton of fucking good music coming out of Atlanta right now, and like I started a band recently, as I've talked about, and a ton of my friends are making just killer fucking art, and I'm really excited to like jump back into that too. But yeah, my favorite record of the year was a collab record. This kind of like noise band. I don't really know what their genre is, but they're called Uniform from New York, and they did a split with Boris, the Japanese band. Stoner metal, just amazing musical outfits, and yeah, that was definitely my favorite of the year. It's 9 songs, 35 minutes. I listened to it on a not daily, but probably like at least weekly basis. That was fucking awesome. And then the flip side of that, which I think I probably also talked about, was Jason Isbell and the 400 Units LP Weather Vanes, which that dude might be my favorite current like songwriter, in the like Americana, rock, country, whatever side of things. But those 2 records blew me away, honestly. And I got to see Boris with the Melvins back in September. That was fucking fantastic. This band from England called High Vis that kind of sounds like if the Stone Roses wrote a hardcore record, that's kind of High Vis's vibe. Saw them at a small club like back in April. Yeah, it's just been a really good year of shows. Yeah, I want to shout out from Atlanta, Radium Jaw, No Head, Hubble, Symbiote, all the Saints, who are a legend here. But yeah, like there's just a ton of fucking good shit happening here. Really, really excited about it. Also, Downgrade and all phenomenal fucking bands that put out good, except for all the Saints. Yeah, they're just They play one show every like 2 years, and they played two this year, and I was really happy about that.
Nice. You mentioned Jason Isbell, who is awesome. I'm a huge fan myself.
Nice.
Also, surprisingly good actor. I don't know if either
I
of you
haven't.
saw
Yeah, I
Killers of
haven't seen it yet. I want to. I just haven't had the
Scorsese.
3.5 hours to commit or whatever it is.
Yeah, and he plays a supporting role, and he's not in it for that long, but more than you'd think, and he actually holds his own. So shouts out to the multi-hyphenate Jason Isbell.
Yeah. He has said on record multiple times that like he wrote a lot of that record while he was on set, and like one song is called "The King of Oklahoma," which is fucking man. That's a song and a half. But yeah, like I don't know. It's just funny to see that work, or to see him collide in that kind of like context. It's wild.
Yeah. Now, Jason Isbell, obviously, you mentioned, Matt, is sort of, on the periphery of country, the Americana genre. Have you gotten at all into sort of like the recent sort of resurgence of like outlaw country guys like Zach Bryan?
I love Sturgill.
Those guys.
Yeah, like there's Chris Stapleton, which is wild because like he came from that, he came out of that like country scene and just did the Monday Night Football anthem, and like it's I've been into that shit for years, and like it's nice to see that resurgence of the attitude and the like type of songwriting that is in my opinion more true to like legit country than this pop bullshit. People can like what they like, but I don't like anything that's been played on like modern country radio in probably 20 years. So
yeah, fair.
Yeah, there's a lot of good songwriters, and like in the outlaw and the kind of overarching like Americana, I guess, like world that kind of includes like folk and whatnot. There's a ton of good shit. Charlie Crockett, I don't know if you know him much, but he's become one of my favorites the past couple of years.
Okay, I'll have to check him out.
Hell yeah. Connor, what you got for us?
Dun, dun, dun. All right. Well, so I went through my Spotify, my Spotify plays, my year review. I want to say the West Side Gun album that he released was so horrid.
Oh no!
Despicably bad. It was like just terrible. Anyway, so I was really looking forward to that, as like were a lot of people, I guess. Maybe not a lot of people, but some people were looking for, and that did not materialize. But I was gonna say number 3, L. Michaels Affair, Black Thought, Glorious Game. I thought that album was really good. Amazing. Even I recommended it to my roommate Rob, who is like we like do not really have a Venn diagram of music, but he like loves it.
Connor, I have to interject. In the same way that Connor sends me listings to things on eBay that I either don't approve of or just don't care about, Connor sends me a lot of links that he tells me to check out, which are, I like some rap and hip hop. I'm not really up on it. I listen to some, and they're usually really good. They're just not my shit. But we have a dichotomy.
We go back and forth. Yeah,
we
go back and forth. Just
I also sent.
I sent you are not going to enjoy. But
and I sent Connor
check it out.
I sent Connor a stoner metal song, and he's like, I don't even. Yeah, sometimes doesn't respond.
I'm
sometimes
a stoner,
just like,
but I'm
cool.
made out of clay.
Right.
Yeah. So
that's what friends are for, expanding each other's boundaries.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So I thought that was a really well done album. I thought that all the production is really beautiful, and Black Thought, who is sometimes kind of monotonous, like the same flow that over and over again. It's like he doesn't do that so brazenly in this album, and I think that it really just goes. It's like it's kind of a tour de force for both him and then I would say Free Young Thug. Young Thug's Business is Business. I listened to that album on repeat for many, many weeks at a time without interruption. I just like, what is there to say about Young Thug that hasn't been said? I mean, Renato has said things about Young Thug better than me. I just think he's like the artist of our generation. So like, it just kind of that he is
Wait,
likely never going to get out of jail is like very bad.
is he? I should know this because of the news junkie that I am, but is he part of the YSL case that's happening right now?
He's the guy.
Oh yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. God
Yeah,
damn.
he's the
Yeah, I
guy. And
follow a
so they're
couple of
using his lyrics.
yeah, I
Yeah,
follow a
they're
couple
using his
of
lyrics against him.
journalists on Twitter from Atlanta that like are covering this trial extensively.
It's terrible. It's
Yeah,
like, and so of course he has like done dumb shit and like continues to do dumb shit, but it's like the justice system just doesn't work, so we can't put anyone in jail.
right.
And
And
so that I thought was amazing. Maybe not as amazing as some of his earlier stuff. Finally, the Young Nudie album Gumbo, I thought just blew my mind. Like it sounds like future era Atlanta. It's very I don't know. The production is really powerful, I guess, and like Nudie just like raps about dumb shit basically, and sounds really great. Like sounds. He talks shit about video gaming, which I think is funny. Like Xbox, that's for lambs, which I just
okay.
think is like, yeah.
So
So
he's a
there we have
PlayStation
it.
guy.
No, I think that the point is like you should be like chasing tail rather than playing video.
Yeah.
Which
Well,
I
I
don't
mean,
know that I
I think you can do
endorse
both
that.
personally.
Yeah, to
Hmm?
each their there's a
You
there's a
can, you can, you can. Of course, you
there's a
can do
lot of
both.
tails that
Of
are
course, you
also
can do both.
gamers in any
Yeah.
gender whatsoever. So
Well, Young Nudie doesn't know any of them,
yeah,
and Young Nudie is
young
not pursuing any of them.
young
No
nudie needs to get
gamer chicks.
yeah.
Yeah,
Young
These
nudie
are
needs to
mutually
get woke
exclusive.
to the real gamers that span a variety of. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
we're really going out on a limb here,
We
going out
we
from
really
gamers
are.
because
This is
Renato,
the
you're not like a gamer, right? You have a respect for people regardless of their sex or gender, and so
As we
you're
all
not
should.
a gamer.
all right. We got to fucking leave this subject. Also, is
we're quitting a lot of them this time, but that's
yeah,
good.
I'm pulling the cord on this one.
Gamers. They
Yeah,
also fuck.
they also fuck. Anyway, yeah, I think this has been a fun year in review. And the end of 2024, we'll see what the future holds, and if we're not on fire, we will be doing this again with Renato.
Thanks for
Yeah.
having me, guys.
Yeah, dude, thank you so much. Shout out your thing so people can get to know you better, my friend.
Well, if anyone is so inclined to follow me on social media, my handle is the same everywhere. It's Renovate, RENNAVATE. And yeah, I basically just post a lot of fit pics of whatever I'm wearing.
A lot of great fit pics.
Wonderful
Appreciate
fit
that.
pics.
And thank you. I try to continue to push myself. It's just kind of a nice way to catalog all of the outfits I wear for future reference for myself, so I can think about what worked or what didn't work, and it's a nice little sort of catalog. And I also post whenever I do occasionally write things, links to articles there. But yeah, you can find me on Twitter because I refuse to call it anything other.
It is Twitter.
Instagram.
It's
We
Twitter.
don't, we don't acknowledge the other name.
It always has been and forever will be Twitter.
Exactly.
And yeah, you can find me there. And maybe I would like to maybe do more on TikTok this year. I feel like when it comes to Instagram, they're really pushing reels, and I really don't know if I feel compelled to make reels. But I'm not too concerned about that. I post things just for myself, and if anybody else is interested in them. So yeah, that's where you can find me. And I wish you two guys best of luck in 2024. I know the podcast is going to go, to the moon, and it's always enjoyable to sort of wrap up the year with you two.
Thank you. Yeah, dude. Same here. You post things for the culture. That's why you post.
Absolutely.
This has been a great year for us and our audience. Thank you so much for listening. We're going to take a few weeks off of making new episodes. We have a very special project in motion that we will soon reveal. And we'll come back strong and try to continue the quote unquote work that we're doing. But everyone,
Apocalypse Duds merch when?
Yeah.
Soonish.
Okay, good. 'Cause I
Yeah.
want a hat. I want
And
a tee.
listen,
I want
if
a
it's not
coat.
work, then you can produce the rest of the episodes.
I mean, you know what I'm saying. We're not getting paid to do this. You know, we're at the mercy of our friends and the people that. Wait, how many listens have we gotten to so far? Around
I
what?
think you're at like 15K.
Dude, for like two cute little dudes starting this program, like that's fucking huge for us. So yeah. I downplay
Yeah,
it,
we're really
but I
proud.
am forever grateful that anyone gives a shit, continues to give a shit, and is cool. So yeah. Until
Yeah, and I was actually gonna do this yesterday, but I'm gonna do it now. It's not a Bud Dwyer thing. It's shout out to all of our new listeners from
yeah.
Argentina, Chile, Kenya, Serbia, and Nigeria. That's
Holy fuck!
wild. Who knows
Apocalypse.
if that's real? Who knows if that's
Yeah.
real? But like
International.
whatever, we take it.
Yes. Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is
Tim.
much appreciated. And until next time, I'm Matt Smith at Rebels Rogues.
And I'm Connor Nunez at Real Connor Nunez.
If you would like to follow us on Instagram, it's at Apocalypse Duds. Questions, comments, concerns, hit us up on email. Whatever you want to send us an emoji.
Apocalypse Duds
We don't care.
Gmail.
It's apocalypseduds@gmail.com. Yeah, thanks again. We'll see you soon.